Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you here today for one of our monthly conversations. It's lovely to have you all here today. This is part of the series, Are You Okay? Are you all okay? Perfect. So my name is Raquel, and I will be your MC this afternoon. Okay, so as you know, every month we have these conversations where we explore different topics just to help us navigate through various things in life, right? And today's topic is value every lesson in life with compassion. Okay, so for anyone who's been here before, just to warn you, this is not going to be just a talk, one-way talk. It's going to be a conversation. So it's going to be a very interactive program. You will have the opportunity to hear from our speakers, and then you will also have time to reflect on your own journeys, and also to ask questions, and also talk some of yourselves and have opportunity to reflect. Right, we always ask this question. Okay, so who is here for the first time? Okay, a few hands. Well, a special warm welcome to you. So if you're not familiar with the Global Retreat Center, we are a registered charity, is administered by the Brahma Kumaris, which is a registered charity since 1975. And here at the Global Retreat Center, we run courses, talks like this one. We also run Raj Yoga meditation courses, spiritual retreats. And everything that we do is free of charge. It's on a voluntary basis, and we do it as part of a service to the community. But obviously, we also take donations. So if you want to donate, you could do that at the end of the program, or you can do it online as well. Okay. So before I introduce my speakers today, I'll ask them to come to the stage. Thank you. Right, I'm going to read through this. So we go Masana de Souza. I hope I pronounce it well, Souza. Yeah. So Masana has an extensive background in coaching, counseling, facilitation, meditation, and like me, also has got a nursing background, which I didn't know. And she's been studying teaching and Raj Yoga meditation for over 20 years. And she's a facilitator for values and healthcare, a spiritual approach. And she has a warm and engaging manner which reflects astute insights and deep compassion for people. Thank you so much for coming today, Masana. And then we go Ash Patel. Ash practices and shares the wisdom of Raj Yoga meditation, grounded in his personal journey of discovering heart cleansing, through which he has released emotional wounds and past traumas. So from his experiences in sales leadership, he combines his spiritual insights with focused approach to empower healing experiences. He finds joy in witnessing others unlock their own healing potential. All right, I look forward to hear today's talk, so I'll leave it to you. Perfect, thank you so much.
Okay. I'm Shanti. Welcome, everyone. Really nice to be at the Global Retreat Center. It just feels like years since I've been here last. Okay, good. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Excellent. So, partly I'm going to use this as an opportunity to catch up with Masana because we rarely get a chance to connect. But as we were discussing this topic briefly a few days ago, one of the things that really stood out strongly for us was to ground it in our own personal experience. So we'd like to share something from our own lives that we can just work through that just allows allows you all to see maybe some of the insights and the teachings we've applied that have helped us through the challenge or a challenge. And so I've got like a couple of questions just as a starter to warm Masana up, and particularly just to explore this idea of what it feels like to resist situations. And I think that's the biggest challenge we all face when we come across something that is absolutely overwhelming us. What does it actually feel like inside? So, Rosanna, I just wanted to start by asking you, you know, we often hear these sorts of phrases, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And sometimes we can find ourselves rolling our eyes when we hear something like that. But in the moment the challenge hits, it rarely feels that way. And, you know, our first instinct is often anger, fear, a lot of resistance to facing the situation. Can you share maybe a time when you went through something that was completely overwhelming you, and this idea of a lesson being absolutely the furthest thing you can think about? What did that resistance feel like?
Well, I obviously was thinking about this, and there were a number of different challenges I could have referred to. So the one that I am sharing today is as a mother and with an adult son who has been one of my greatest teachers on the planet, teaching me more patience, more tolerance, more unconditional love, first for self, let alone then for others. He's a great teacher. So what happened was he has been going through many years of challenges, the dark side of the night. And I was told by my sister that there was a big court case coming up because he'd been sort of distant from me for a while. And my first reaction was, oh no, not again. I really don't want to deal with this. And there was frustration, and knowing as the mother I needed to step up and be there for him. But the feeling was, I don't know if I can cope with this right now.
Interesting.
And so there was resistance, because I'd learned how to detach from him. I was using that skill really well, but now I needed to actually face and be part of his journey again. And that was very challenging.
And what did that resistance feel like in form inside? Was it turbulent, emotional? Was there feelings of fear or anger inside that kept coming up, thinking, why have you done this? And, you know, why am I here to try and support you? Did you find yourself asking those sorts of questions? Or was it something different?
No, he'd been taking me on this journey for so long. He's a vulnerable adult, so he does attract others that manipulate him.
Sure.
So there've been many of these experiences before. But to have a court case, and I knew it was a serious court case, there was some fear, of course, because one of the options was jail, and so I needed to face that. And it was more about, do we have to go through another big journey like this? Because there've been many. So it was more about that weariness of resignation of here we go again. Do I have the energy and the stamina? Because I'd really need to step up on this one.
Gosh. And what was the turning point? You know, when I suppose when we looked at the blurb, there's qualities like divine courage or patience that can form part of being compassionate towards the self. How did you be compassionate towards yourself in that sort of situation? Because I can imagine it's probably not easy.
Well, it was knowing I needed to take care of myself and to share with a very close friend. Mm-hmm. So having a friend and my sister that I could be very honest with. I could be honest about my resistance. I could be honest about my fears, about what might happen. And being really kind to myself was so important, to be gentle. And the other aspect was letting go of realizing again, I can't control this situation. This adult son has created this pathway for himself. I can't control the judge, the lawyers.
No, of course.
I can't actually control anything. And so in being gentle with myself, having loving listening ears through a close friend and a sister, I could release a lot and let go and allow what was real and then face it. So it's having the courage to face what no one wants to face, this kind of situation.
I can relate to that, actually. I think it's interesting when you said you needed to be honest with somebody. It's almost like the first quality you turned inside was to really listen to yourself and then to offer that as an expression, just to be able to unload what you've been carrying. Because, over time I can imagine that when we face situations, these sorts of things build up emotionally, and therefore it can really affect our clarity in terms of what comes, and things can become very confused very quickly. So having that aspect of being able to open your heart and be honest, I feel, is something I can really, really relate to. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you.
So we'll go a little further with that. However, let me ask you for yourself, Ash. When was there one of those challenges that came like, oh, no, last thing you're thinking of, this is a lesson, I can learn from this, I can grow from this.
Yeah.
That overwhelming experience of, oh no, not again. Oh, what was it like for you?
Yeah, sure. I think I thought about one situation and I thought, no, I don't want to share that. And I tried to think of another situation, and I just kept coming back to the same situation, thinking, absolutely, this is the right one, this is the right one. And it was in 2016, and I'd been looking after somebody for about a year, so this person was quite close to my life. She was involved in the charity as well, and she was dying through cancer, and I wasn't really aware of how grave her situation was until the end. And when she passed, she'd left a legacy to the charity, etc. And what happened at that point was I had to, as the executor, look after her estate and make sure everything worked out in accordance. But the situation that came in front of me was, when you mentioned court case, it was exactly that. It was the family wanting to, obviously wanting, a share of that money, and they wanted to come towards me for take me to court for some reason, which was really strange. So it was completely unexpected, out of character for what I'd noticed from her family, and I was terrified. That was 1 month of absolute sheer terror that I just could not control. And at that point, I remember I could not meditate. I could not even, listen to anything. We have our readings in the morning, and even that wasn't sinking in. And any time I tried to meditate, I just found myself getting up and just being angry or fearful and just walking away. So there was this period where all of the practices that had nourished me up until that point and given me strength suddenly felt like they just weren't working, because the level of fear that I was experiencing was paralyzing. And so that was an interesting scene to go through, because at that point I wasn't really aware what the root cause was. And it was interesting that the turning point for me came when the resistance for me was, I don't want to face this situation. This situation is exhausting me, absolutely exhausting me. Just one thought in that direction and I would be I'd experienced bouts of fear like I've never experienced before. And I decided once, and this connects to what you were sharing about honesty, I decided to sit down and really open my heart in my relationship with God after a month. And I said to God, I know I need to be honest about something, but I just don't know what. And in that moment, I detached in my meditation experience this connection with soul, and I just found this beautiful relief from all of that chaos. So the situation hadn't gone anywhere. It was still there. The noise had just completely dumbed down, and I just found myself isolated in peace. And that was the first moment of relief I'd had in that particular test paper that I desperately needed. But what was interesting that followed was, as soon as I finished the meditation, I felt completely calm. It was almost as if my thoughts wouldn't go anywhere near that situation. And I walked up and moved, I don't know, intuitively, I just sat down at my desk and I picked up my pen and paper. And I wrote the first question, which is, what do you feel? I just did this. This is the first time I've ever done it. And from that point onwards, I started using this. I just wrote, what do I feel? And I just started writing. And after I'd written enough, the next question was, what do I fear and why? And I just started writing, bullet points. And then after that, I had another question that came up, is what does your inner wisdom tell you? And I just started writing. And at the end of that process, I just felt a deep feeling of peace, just complete peace. It's almost like everything was out on paper. And one of the observations of one of the questions I'd written was I had a feeling of regret that maybe I had done something wrong in this process. I hadn't, but I was blaming myself. And secondly, I noticed I had 9 different types of fear. Now, when I'd written that down and I felt I'd accepted it, I could now face the situation. I wasn't at complete peace, but the fear didn't paralyze me anymore. It was beginning to turn around because I'd found a space to accept it. And acceptance came, eventually the release from the situation came when I learned it was connected to a childhood trauma. And that's another story, but the starting point of taking control, I feel, which was most important in this situation, was the moment I shared with honesty. I opened my heart with honesty, and I just allowed myself to own whatever was going on inside. So that was the turning point in in that
That's
lovely
so
memory.
powerful. What I'm hearing also, Ash, is that it's like, and I can relate to that, is when repressing, suppressing strong feelings, strong emotions, there's a certain point where it cannot be kept down. Either it goes deep into depression and the body will react in all kinds of different illnesses, or it's going to explode. However, what I heard you do is you opened it up and then really pulled out all the different, you said 8 or 9 different ways of fear.
Yeah, 8 or 9 different types of fear.
And that's so powerful because it's like, I don't know why I'm getting a washing line and pegging up all those different fears.
Yeah.
And then you could really look at them.
I could look at them and just feel light about it, just understand. I think a big part of the realization came afterwards, which is you can't accept anything you don't understand. And for me, honesty was that first step to understanding the situation and what it was creating in my heart. And after I'd done that, then I could accept it. It was it was almost like acceptance wasn't I need to accept, it was just acceptance just came. So that was really a fascinating memory to go back to. I wanted to ask you something relating to your situation, because when I look back, it's often easier to see the pattern sometimes, particularly when you've gone further down the journey, not just the pattern, but perhaps even the benevolence of the situation. And I wonder if there's any specific lessons in your situation, from a past obstacle or from that obstacle that you felt is now a foundational strength in your life, whether it's I don't know, a form of resilience or whether it's a form of empathy. Did you notice anything change inside of you as a result of it?
Well, a very important part of it was accepting, as I said before, what is. I can't change what has happened. I can't change anybody else. I certainly can't change my son. The only one I can change is myself. And so that being so compassionate and kind to myself, and like you, being very honest, also having a very powerful relationship with the divine, and so having those conversations. And then things began to shift, because I moved from that resistance, I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to, because my sister was saying, you'll have to go for a whole week for this court case down in the south of England. And my initial reaction was, no, you go instead, I really can't face this. And when I shifted from what I can't do to stepping into my inner power of, yes, I can, then everything shifted. I mean, if I can only give a couple of little examples of getting the suit ready for my son and buying a new shirt and a tie from my father, his grandfather, making sure we had a beautiful hotel room. Everything, I created it to be the best experience in a horrendous situation. And when I changed my attitude and behavior, magic, real pure magic started to happen. Can I share for a moment?
Yeah, please.
And the magic, in essence, we had to share a room together. Now, we hadn't lived together for years. He was in his late 30s at this point. And sharing a hotel room, I was not looking forward to. Because I changed my attitude, he would be up early morning like I was, sitting meditating. In the evening, it was peaceful. We didn't put on the television. He's someone who was also always on social media. It shifted. The energy in the room changed. Imagine a courtroom where he held that inner stillness. And I'll give the end of the court case. It could have gone many different ways. At the end, he was told he was innocent on 3 counts. And he stood up and he went, I hadn't told him to do any of this. He did this to the jury, he did this to the judge and to the 2 lawyers. I mean, it was pin drop silence. And Mother, what did Mother do? Followed the son. There was a total shift. And I had held during that whole week in court only the best outcome for everybody. For the son, best outcome, knowing it could have been prison. Best outcome for all the others in the courtroom, including the jury, the lawyers, and the judges. And in that total letting go and trusting that whatever happens will be the best. Pure magic happened.
Wow, that's remarkable. I think this holding the faith of the best outcome requires actually a level of courage in the soul. Because when I was thinking back at the situation I was just sharing, one of the thoughts that I had in that was I wanted to preserve the relationship, in whatever context, in whatever way, because they were a good family. And just because they were going through this motion, it didn't necessarily mean they were bad people. And so there was this feeling that, it's always worthwhile preserving a relationship. And that was something that I'd held on to in that year. And funny, after everything was sorted, and everything got sorted, it took a little bit of time, but once everything was completely sorted, the mother reached out at one point, and who had instigated the whole thing, and she'd said, we'd like to invite you to come to maybe give a talk to a few people, which was a really, you don't know what's going to happen in down the road in the journey of situations, and how you handle yourself, if it's from fear or anger, leaves its mark. And I think until we've done that in a work on acceptance, finding peace, and then finding a way to resolve the situation in the most peaceful way possible, you don't know what the outcomes are going to be, for everyone else. So I could really relate to the point you were sharing. I think that was a nice way to hold an intention of only the best to happen.
And what I'm hearing too from you, Ash, is that integrity, that you remained in your self-respect. It could have been so easy to go into the blame game of, I've done so much for this wonderful friend, how can her family turn against me? And all of the games that are in the old world of blaming and judging. And I
wouldn't say there weren't any of those thoughts. There definitely were a lot of those thoughts. But I think when we have this knowledge and we understand our value as beings of non-violence, then we kind of know what we want to preserve. I'm sure you felt that way. It's in situations, the first thought comes, well, how can I preserve peace? How can, everyone, get something from this situation, in whatever situation, not that particular one, but in other situations you always feel, okay, how can I preserve the peace in this? So I think there's also something about holding the value of what is important to you as a quality, isn't it? Could you share something about that, perhaps? Because I know you've done a lot of work in non-violent communication, and I think that's a big part of being able to hold not a space of judgment, but a space of deep empathy and observation.
Yes. I'll go back to that court case. I mean, I could use many different examples. However, this one is so graphic that, as I said, I sat in that courtroom every day. And it could have been easy to slip into, when hearing the prosecutor speak about my son or the situation, and get very upset, uptight. And the whole time I'm holding that space, the best outcome, seeing everyone as a spiritual being, knowing that everyone was playing their role accurately, not necessarily how I would like it to be. And so that's becoming aware of, in the past, being a control freak, wanting to control everything and everyone, which under that, of course, is fear. And so really detaching and bringing in that gentle peace and sitting in the courtroom only connecting with the ocean of peace and compassion. So the whole day, that's what I was in. I was really beyond. And that is, sorry for this, that has been so powerful because I can apply it to anything in life. Staying detached yet compassionate.
Yeah, interesting.
And really, particularly as we see the scenes going on in the world today or in one's own personal life, can I keep stepping back and being that gentle, detached observer, compassionate of self, and then of the situation, that everybody is doing the best they can in this moment, not what I want them to be.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How our expectations can be so deeply wired until we sit down and have a look and just let go, and just let go of whatever we're holding mentally towards them as a form of expectation.
How about for yourself? What is one of the key lessons that you are using in your life from these big challenges?
I think the biggest thing for me was seeing that there was a benevolence in that whole situation. And when I look back at it now, and I think that was a gift as a situation, because it brought so many other storms with it, but I can see the level of healing that it's helped me achieve from it. So it's only when you've gone through it and come out the other end that you think, wow, actually that was really beneficial. So that was one thing, is to have this benevolent faith in the drama of life and knowing that maybe it will feel like a washing machine experience when you're going through it, but actually through it you look back and think, that was actually the right thing. It was one of the best things that could have happened. So in terms of a greater faith in the benevolence of whatever's happening around me, that was one aspect. I think the other aspect was knowing that I have strength, that there is this capacity in me once I center myself in peace. And I feel for me, if I'd only done it sooner, I wouldn't have had to suffer for a whole month. But I mean, that's the learning, isn't it? Whereas now, when situations come, you can find yourself caught up in a bit of a storm, but actually you can know the process of detangling yourself or untangling yourself from the situation and just dropping it mentally. Yeah, so the situation hasn't changed, but actually now I'm preserving the peace. And now from that space of peace, I have more control over my decisions, over knowing what to do, over certain choices that perhaps I couldn't see when emotion was involved. I remember just a few weeks ago, there was one of those storms, a mental storm. And I just sat in my meditation and I said to myself, why don't you just drop it for one day? Because for some reason, I could not let it go. And I said, okay, why don't you just drop it for one day? As soon as I said that, it just almost dissolved in my mind. And when it dissolved in my mind, guess what? A whole day passed. I didn't have to think about it at all. And then the next day, it was a case of, well, that's worked, so I'm going to do that again. So it was always going back to, what is it I'm trying to preserve in here? What is it that I'm trying to challenge in there? And yes, of course, these tests are going to come. You know, you face them, we all face them. But it's giving us and needing a method, perhaps, to step inwards. That's the learning from me. Is there a learning from you for anyone perhaps going through something similar in their life?
Trust the process.
Trust.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Surrender. So
Oh,
surrender
yes.
of whatever I'm holding on to, whatever
Yeah.
fears, whatever judgments of self or the other or others, and let go. And for me, let God guide. And God for me, the divine supreme power. So guiding me, listening to the inner wisdom, which means I need to dive into silence and stillness.
And do you find that when you let go, as in you surrender, you are more able to allow yourself to be guided?
Absolutely. Because when I'm trying to hold on to the steering wheel and
Yeah.
make it happen the way that is based on old learnt behavior, old learnt ways of doing things, and past thoughts, then I'm going to get blocked again. So it is having to let go and really surrender the ego
Yeah.
of I'm in charge, really. When I can let go of the old ways, then the wisdom starts to flow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
of
when
course.
you said, for one day can I be peace?
Yeah, one day.
And for all of us to start with 1 minute, 1 hour. So to build it up gradually, you jump to a day, but however, I would imagine that's after many years of meditating and building it up. So I think for everyone, we start small, start with the baby steps.
Yeah.
Then that builds the momentum and then can really
It's true.
take charge.
It's true. Thank you. I'm just looking at time as well
Yes.
and
Would you-
realizing.
I think maybe would you be willing to maybe take us into a short meditation that gives
Yeah.
everyone a chance to connect with one's own inner wisdom,
Sure.
and then we're going to have some dialogue.
A dialogue
after.
and Q&A,
Thanks.
yeah? Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's just take a few moments to settle our minds. Allow the mind to be completely free and still in this moment. And focus your attention now at the center of the forehead. and allow the light of your awareness, that being of light, the soul, to shine. And recognize that when I see this form of light, this form of awareness, then I can step away and untangle myself from any situation that is affecting me. When I see myself as I truly am, then there is nothing but peace. Everything becomes quiet. Everything becomes still. And I'm able to connect with my inner power and trust what I must do. So let us just hold this quiet stillness for a few moments. And let it release you from the grip of any situation that may be troubling your mind or your heart. And allow you to feel this temporary sense of freedom inside. And gently now, let me bring my awareness back into this room. I open my eyes. Thank you.
So, what we thought we would offer now is an opportunity for you to reflect on something, and I'm going to read from the flip chart. And first, reflect within on a challenge which you would like to transform. So obviously Ash and I have shared some that happened in the past. However, something that's alive in you right now. And if it's the biggest challenge that you've ever experienced in your life that's unresolved, on a 1 to 10, that would be a 10, like what I described as a big one. Don't go there. In order to learn new tools, you need to bring it down to something smaller, because a smaller challenge that is still alive in you now, you'll get practice in this process, and then you'll be able to apply it to bigger ones. Is that okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, go between 1 to 5. Something that's alive in you now that is challenging, maybe a situation or a breakdown in a relationship with somebody. So reflect for 5 minutes on a challenge you would like to transform. So maybe take a few deep breaths and go into your inner space. See what comes up for you. And observe that situation. Become the gentle, detached, compassionate observer. Don't get pulled back into the situation. Observe it from a distance. What feelings come up for you? What emotions? If it's somebody else involved too, how are they reacting? Maybe if we go around and if I give someone, you give.
Or
Or you want to put them out?
just put them out and people can come and...
Okay, all right. So what Ash got is some beautiful, compassionate virtue cards. And if you would like to come up and take one and take it back to your seat, okay? And what you're going to do with it is reflect on how this compassionate card, so come on up, everyone come up and take one, and then go back to your seat and sit and read it quietly to yourself. And how can this help you with the situation that came up in your mind? How can you apply it? Sometimes reading it over a couple of times, let it see where it lands within you. Does it give you some insight, awareness of how you can apply that to the challenge? I'll give you a few more minutes to reflect on that. And sometimes taking a few deep cleansing breaths, relaxing, and allow the first thoughts that come up for you rather than using the analytical mind to decide. Okay, and now I'd like you to find 2 other people, so you'll be in groups of 3, and so maybe with people that you don't know, and sit together, the 3 of you, and introduce yourself only by name, yes? And then share the essence of how this compassionate card, this virtue card, can support you to transform your challenge. So you don't need to go into the personal challenge, right? And remember, anything that you share with another is confidential. It's not going to be raised again in the large group. It's more about how can you use this virtue to navigate the challenge that you're experiencing. Is that okay with everyone? And you will have 10 minutes. So one of you in the group of 3 be the timekeeper, and each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. Is that okay? So everybody gets a chance. So find 2 other people, and if you can't find them, put your hand up, and I'm sure somebody else will find you as well. So please go ahead.
The self-mastery cards, surprisingly, a lot of them are self-compassion focused. You know, there's understanding, there's empathy, there's a lot of nice cards. Yeah, I've got a selection, I brought a selection with me. I didn't know where I... I wonder this is what I need. If anyone instantly picked one and thought, this is the one. Curious. Yeah. Thank you for the conversation. Really, I had no idea you'd been through something like this. We never get a chance to chat. So.
I shared it in the conference project event.
Yeah.
What I didn't share this time was I said every day,
Of course. It's amazing, isn't it, how the Roman family can really support us in an incompetent way. Yeah, yeah. Just a deep appreciation and respect. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, it would have gone the other way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you what, you mothers have been through it. You know, I kind of, when you were talking, instantly I was feeling, you know, I've put my mum through, not a similar thing, but when I was a teenager, I was all over the place. Yeah. It's like, yeah, mothers have this. Yeah. Because you've got no choice. You've got no choice, but you've just got to support them, whatever they end up in. That's unconditional, isn't it? Unconditional. It must have been quite liberating though, when Bubba's knowledge sits in your awareness and you feel that's his story, and my story is separate. He's just the soul, and we're just sharing the journey together. Because that is liberation, isn't it? In terms of, it liberates you from the bondage in a big way. But there's obviously still, there has to be care, isn't there? There's a lot of care and love, because you're also a guardian of that sense. The responsibility.
In that state to mature I realize that. So you can discern.
things settled in his life?
It's no favour. This is years later. He's finally given up. He's got baptised in a church that fits him. He has apartments or promotions. This lady said she is a teacher for she gets it.
Wow, I was just thinking, how that's like a drama. Just puts the right agent in front of him to. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like you've just got to let go of everything, even though it's not. It's nothing to do with you. You feel the weight of the situation because it's kind of there's a connection there, isn't there? Deep on. And what I've realised is that what a son feels, or what mother feels, son feels, and what a son feels, mother feels. It is true. Yeah. I question because I learned that about me and my mum. Because I thought we were detached, like properly detached. But I could feel emotions from her when she was going through stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling a bit. She goes, yeah. And then Baba said in the Murli, he goes, you only feel the souls that you're connected with because there's attachment. I was like, that makes sense. So there's still a thread of attachment. Because attachment it runs deep. It doesn't just, we can detach to a certain extent, and then you have to really make a lot of effort to be ruthlessly detached. Like Brahma Baba was, he was ruthlessly detached. We do, yeah. That's our protection, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Too many at the time.
I'm going to bring them back in a couple. When I thought first I'd invite them to maybe a flip chart.
Yeah.
They say, what is the key quality?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. 4:10, 10 past 4 in meditation. It's about 13 minutes, so it gives us enough time. Even if we finish earlier, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, just another minute or so. Have all three spoken, or you need a few more minutes? Yes, sure. A couple more minutes, okay? Thank you.
Check whether you've got a room. Was there a room available? take her to me. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Could I request they return the cards at the end?
Okay, can we come back together now? So wherever you are in that, if you'd like to come back, obviously thank your listeners and sharers. And first, what would be great, before we go into the Q&A and you sharing some of your insights, Ash is going to flip chart for us. Maybe call out what was that particular quality or virtue or spiritual power that you feel is that your magic that is helping you with your situation. So rather going into the expansion, first of all, call out what is the virtue or the spiritual power that you're using to help you with this challenge. Detach? Yeah, definitely. What else? Gratitude. Beautiful. Harmony. Faith. Was that faith in self? Faith in both. Maturity. Respect. Trust. Patience. Beauty. Ah. Insight. Honesty. Humility. All powerful spiritual eternal virtues that are within each of us. And the more that we can look after them and use them, then they become even more easily accessible. So great, I'm sure there are many more. What we'd like now is share some of those experiences, or if you've got any questions for Ash and myself. However, it'd be lovely to hear some of the insights. How did you turn that challenge through that exercise? What is it that you're taking away that you can use again and again? Thanks.
What I like about this sort of exercise is that we always pick up the right card.
How have you felt that? Just out of interest, that's a good question. Just raise your hands higher. Wow, okay. Remarkable. Yeah. Thank you. Does anybody want to share why it was the right card for them?
So I've been grappling with a relationship issue for a while, and recently I felt that sort of I'm getting there, and just got to say it, and that's okay. It's fine. So the card I got was maturity, and it says, as a master, I am unaffected by surprises. I know the ways of the world. I have gone beyond displaying my ego. I take care of the reputation of others. And that's how I feel. I mean, I sort of woke up this morning feeling really, of course, the journey is long, but I thought, yeah, that particular thing that I've been grappling with, just about there.
It's coming.
I have a good voice, you don't need. Particularly, I'm directly related to your problem with your son. Detach. I don't think so. Always in my mind, it's not possible not be touch with the family, with the son, with wife, with mother. there is more than just a physical. They can be go miles and miles away, and it's still you attach it. And when you attach it, the peace never settle in my mind. And how you detach, how you thinking, what's a detach means for you?
I'm very visual, and I think this is on. I'm very visual, and for many years I've been practicing the spiritual umbilical cord between this soul who is the mother of the Son, who is also an eternal soul. And yet that spiritual umbilical cord, even when we weren't living together and he was in his life and I was following my path, that it was ongoing inner spiritual work of detaching on that spiritual level. So for me, I always say to be compassionately detached. Detachment without compassion for me is like, what the world will say, pushing away. And that's not for me what it is. It's first being so compassionate with myself, with whatever emotions, feelings I'm going through as the mother, even with an adult, vulnerable adult son, and at the same time having such compassion for that soul, even though there was a lot of what he's been doing over the years that I didn't agree with. And so that's deep, deep inner work, and it's an ongoing journey.
Is that detachment linked in a way to forgiveness?
Oh yes, and forgiveness,
That's a very hard one.
Yes, do you want to say a bit more about that?
Yes, just a bit closer. It's the aspect of, if you're angry with someone, it's like, as they say, filling a cup of poison to give to them and then drinking it yourself. So when you're forgiving, what you're actually doing is freeing yourself from the situation, not letting them off the hook. So it's that fine line of how do you not let someone off the hook, but forgive them. If you see what I mean.
And to play with that analogy of the hook, if I'm still either hooked into the other person's behavior, personality, or I'm dangling them on a hook, you can play with it in many ways, I'm still trapped.
Yeah.
So it's always about freeing up self first, which is the inner work.
They don't know they're on the hook half the time.
Yes, and the word forgiving first is giving to self. It's not about forgiving the other.
Okay.
That's a longer journey. The more that I can give what I need, that listening, that inner dialogue, and using spiritual powers, whatever spiritual process each of us have. And then I become stronger and I start healing deep within. And then I can really become that gentle, compassionate observer of the other. It's a journey, it's not instant.
Of course. Thank you.
Three quick things are coming to mind. One is the old phrase, what's not expressed is suppressed. What's not expressed is suppressed. Second is, and I said this at last Tuesday evening's meditation insights, what's coming through for me again and talking with the other two, was the inner beauty of everyone, everything, every moment. Do you know? And the other thing was that, I'm sure you know Lucinda Drayton, the singer who was with Bliss, and they often play the music here. She performed in this very room 7 or 8 years ago, but she regularly does. And one of her classic songs is Road of Gold. And she does a Q&A afterwards like yourself, and I said to her, Road of Gold, classic line in there, all the tears that you have cried are now turning into diamonds. Every road you tread is a road that's paved with gold. Everybody winced, and smiled. And I said to her, you wrote that 20 or 30 years ago. Is there nothing in your life you would change if you had your time over again? And she visibly, audibly winced, and then looked up and said, I wish I could have learnt all the lessons I needed to learn without hurting all the people I hurt. Yeah, what a beautiful woman. Yeah. So thank you for today. Yeah. Oh.
Any other questions or something you're sitting on that you've realised you got a little aha moment? Because it may not be a total solution. If you got your hand up, it may not be the total solution at this time. However, is there a bit more light coming in to wherever that challenge is? Yes? Ready for another meditation? And if at the end you could bring the cards back so Ash can use them again. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so just become comfortable in your seats and we shall begin. Thank you. Let's begin by finding a comfortable position, sitting upright yet relaxed, with your hands resting gently in your lap. Now close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let go of any initial tensions of your day. Take another deep breath in, drawing in calm, and as you exhale, allow your body to soften and settle. Bring your awareness to the sounds around you, the gentle hum of the room, the distant sounds outside of the room. Simply notice them without judgment, and then let them fade into the background as you bring your attention inwards. Feel the gentle, steady rhythm of your own breath, a quiet anchor to this present moment. Now, gently shift your attention from your breath to the center of your forehead. Imagine a tiny, calm point of light shimmering gently in this space. This point of light is your awareness. It is the real you, the observer. From this point of consciousness, become aware of your physical body. Notice it as a vehicle you are sitting in, a gentle, faithful friend. But it is not who you are. You are the light of awareness that is observing it. Feel a sense of gentle detachment. You are not the tiredness in your limbs or the thoughts in your mind. You are the silent, peaceful being of light that is aware of these things. Rest in this awareness as a pure, conscious soul, weightless and free. As you remain here as this point of light, begin to feel your own original nature. This core self, this soul, is inherently benevolent. Its original qualities are peace, love, and quiet strength. There is nothing you need to do to earn this. It is simply who you are. Allow yourself to bathe in the feeling of your own inner goodness. Feel that profound peace that is your true nature, a peace that is always there beneath the surface of all activity. And feel the unconditional love that resides at your core. This is your safe sanctuary, your true home, a space of pure, benevolent being. And take a moment to simply be with this beautiful, true self. Now, from this place of deep peace and benevolence, let's create a safe space to look at a challenge in our lives. Imagine a shimmering, transparent bubble forming in the space just in front of you. It's beautiful, strong, and clear. And gently allow a situation from your life where you feel resistance or tension to gather inside this bubble. You don't need to dive into the story. Just allow the feelings, the energies, and the complexities of it to swirl inside this bubble, almost like colors mixing in water. See it all contained there, separate from you. You are here as the calm, peaceful soul, the observer. The situation is there, held safely within the bubble. Notice the clear space between you and the bubble. In this space is your freedom. You are not entangled in the energy. You are simply observing it with a compassionate awareness. And from this detached view, you see there is no need to fight or resist. There is only the energy of the situation waiting to be met with understanding, with peace. Now bring to mind that beautiful, benevolent, compassionate quality you discovered today. and that you connected with. It may have been peace, it may have been love, it may have been courage, or perhaps a simple kindness. First, as an act of deep compassion for yourself, pour this quality inwards. Imagine it as a warm, golden light radiating from your heart and filling your entire being. Let every cell receive this gift of strength and comfort. Feel yourself becoming full and bright with this wonderful energy. Now, from your full heart, gently extend this golden light towards the bubble in front of you. Imagine warm rays of this light touching the bubble, surrounding it and seeping inside. Watch as your light of peace or love or whatever quality you picked mingles with the swirling energies inside. Not to fight them, but to soothe, calm and harmonize them. The colors inside begin to soften and lighten. As the light fills this bubble, see the image of yourself within that situation beginning to change. Watch as this version of you absorbs the golden light. See your shoulders relax, your expression soften. Feel yourself becoming lighter, more freer in this situation. No longer weighed down by the struggle. You are transforming the energy of this situation with your compassion. Feeling this profound inner shift, allow the bubble to gently dissolve now. Its energies now harmonized and at peace. And from the lightness you now feel, let that beautiful golden light expand outwards from you. See it filling the room, touching everyone here with a silent blessing of good wishes, of peace, of freedom. And now, it's time to gently draw your awareness back. Let the visualization of the room fade and bring that beautiful light of awareness back to its seat in the center of your forehead. Become aware once more of your physical body sitting here in this room, and reconnect with the gentle rhythm of your breath. Carry that feeling of inner peace and that beautiful quality you have discovered as you prepare to return. And when you feel ready, you can slowly and gently, in your own time, open your eyes and remind yourself that I am a being of peace. Om Shanti.
Everybody okay? Very powerful meditation, yeah? Well, thank you so much, both of you. I mean, I've got so many takeaways with me today. One of them was about letting go. I think that's one of the things sometimes I struggle to do, letting go. I think we all, I'm talking about myself, put some expectations on our day-to-day, how we want things to happen, and just being at peace with whatever is the situation that goes on that particular day. That's a big one for me. And also, I agree with the majority. I think always the virtue card always seems to be the right one that we pick, right? I don't know how that happens, it's the magic. So big round of applause for our speakers. Yeah, Ash and Okay, so before we let you go, a big announcement. So the bookshop is open, so you're very welcome to go and have a look. The next event that we go in the grounds this time, it will be the forest bathing, which is actually happening tomorrow, Sunday, 28th of September, and is 2 to 3:30 p.m. So it's a nice walks in the grounds and very gentle meditation on the ground. So if you've not done it before, I highly recommend. And then we got the next special event in the house on the 25th of October, and that will be 4:30, so a little bit later start, to 6 p.m. Okay, and the title is From Ego to Soul, and that's an interview with Dr. Andrew Powell. And then we go our usual events. So every Tuesday lunchtime we go online meditation, so you can connect through the website, and that happens 12:30 to 1 p.m. And then we also on Tuesdays 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. meditations inside, and this is an in-house event. And we are also about to start Raj Yoga course, meditation courses, and that will be starting at the start of the month. So you have all the details on our website. So thank you so much for coming today, and have a safe journey back home. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.